to the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, August 18th from Sarasota, Florida. I'm Seth Johnson. Oh, wait, I'm not in Sarasota, Florida. I'm in Ogden, Utah.
Even tricked me there. From Reynoldsburg, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
And welcome to the HomeTech Podcast, a podcast all about home automation, home technology, all the fun stuff. Yeah, there's a mountain behind me. I don't know if you guys can see that. Sorry about the audio today, everybody. There is a Starbucks. I'm at a Starbucks to do this recording, and there's a mountain behind me. And along with the mountain, there's a bunch of cars driving by through the drive-thru. So if you hear something go by, that's what it is.
I don't get to see mountains that often. That's kind of nice, you know. We don't. Our land's pretty flat, but you got like big mountains behind you.
Yeah, no, they're large. I didn't know I would be this close to a mountain, but yeah, I guess I'm close to it. It feels like I go walk over to it, but it's probably like a few miles that way. It's probably going to take me a longer time.
It looks like you could just poke it right now.
I don't know how it works. I'm with you, Gavin. Our land is very flat, actually. We don't have any hills or anything. Along with the cars and the mountains and such things, there's an Air Force base here too. So from time to time, an airplane or a F-22 will fly over, going really fast, which is kind of cool too. That's really neat to see. I've been watching them fly by, but that's slowed down in the last couple of hours. So maybe they don't do night fights; they just go out and play during the day.
So what are you doing in Utah, Seth?
Oh well, yeah, I forgot about that part. We have a booth for our booth that I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, and I'm here to...
Hey, HomeTech has a booth? That's cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're probably going to be there, right? No, for Blackwire, the company I work for, booth 430 something. I don't remember the number, but I'm here. I came up here to kind of like, I don't know, not inspect it, but there was some lighting stuff that I had to take care of to see how it was going to mechanically work, and then just to kind of see it. So, like, if you pay for something this large, you kind of want to send somebody to go look at it, and I got volunteered for that effort. So I'm here for Utah for like a day, and then I fly back tonight. So yeah, taking the red eye back. It's always fun.
Well, we'll all be together here soon. And I mean, right now you're pretty close to Colorado, so maybe you should just go to Colorado and just wait it out.
I'm extremely close. I looked on like the delivery and the shipping and all this. I'm like, oh, I'm sure there's like a highway or something I could get on and drive through beautiful countryside that looks like this out here, and then be all of a sudden be in Colorado. It's really getting close, and we'll be all chilling in Denver and in the big booth that I'm like covered in sawdust from today. And yeah, we'll be there on the show floor, and then we're having our HomeTech happy hour, right? So we're going to have that on Friday, September 8th, the Rock Bottom Brewery. If you want to come to that, please do go to our website and sign up RSVP. Let us know you're coming. And if you want to sponsor, if you want to throw some money into the little bucket there for us to, buy everybody drinks and all that stuff, please do. Because we actually had a couple of people do that. Tokyo Jim, who we mentioned previously, is one of the first people that signed up for it, came back and sponsored. And then another person who listens, Keith Lunsford, threw a little bit of money in us as well. So if you see those guys there at the HomeTech Happy Hour, be sure to thank them for buying you a drink. And then we also had some hosts sponsor. So we've got Grid Connect, Pixel Vault, Menlo Marketing, and Chow Mein Software. We don't have all of the marketing stuff put together for them yet. Hopefully by that time the show's put up, we'll have all that on the website and a better idea what each one of these companies want us to talk about. But TJ, I think you know a little bit more about Pixel Vault and Menlo Marketing. Those two companies are kind of like teamed up for their sponsorship, but they're doing some kind of like a giveaway or something. Is that right?
Yeah. So Pixel Vault is who does my website. Menlo Marketing is my advertising company. And I got to know them through various contacts in the industry. They are actually nice enough to give away a Vito Pro Pack, which, if anybody knows anything about Vito, is like a $400 bag easily. So all you have to do is attend the event. They will also be at the CD Expo. They're actually having a booth at 4106. So we'll have some more information about the giveaway. You do have to attend the happy hour in order to enter for that. And it's free to go to the happy hour. You don't have to pay any money to go.
No, but if you do want to pay, if you do want to throw a few dollars,
you can. You should. Yeah. I mean, but you don't have to.
You don't have to. Yeah, but
we all like money, so.
That's pretty awesome. They're going to be doing one of those giveaway or that giveaway during the event. So yeah, be sure to come for that because that's awesome. And again, you have to be there, having free drinks, and then you might get a free backpack out of it. Which those backpacks are honestly those are awesome. So thanks to those guys. That's awesome. We will have that giveaway there. We'll have to get something to like capture everybody, like a ticket system or something where you capture everybody's name. That's there so we can do the giveaway.
Oh, I have raffle tickets. Don't you worry. And name tags. I can bring everything.
You can tell you're excited.
Well, that's what happens when you run a meetup group as well. You just have these random things that don't really fit into normal life.
Oh. Well, that's awesome. There we go. We're covered. But we still are looking for sponsors. And for you to RSVP and let us know you're coming for those two things. If you want to learn more about the HomeTech Happy Hour, when it is, where it is, all that good stuff, HomeTech.fm/happy hour has all the information there. Please do go and check that out. Sign up. Let us know you're coming, and we'll see you there. We do have a couple of HomeTech headlines that popped up this week. What do you say we get started?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, this was kind of news, kind of the biggest news that's happened this week. Little awkward. It's going to be at CEDIA, I think. But an email was sent out to Control4 dealers regarding some recent developments with Control4, or I guess the parent company Snap One, Josh AI, and Ava, which I think we've talked about Ava in the past. I know we talked about Ava in the past because we used the remote that they made to have TJ on the podcast at one point in time. I think that's the one and only time that anybody has ever podcasted from a remote. So a very unique thing. But well, I'll just go ahead and read the email here. It says, Control4 partners, our records indicate that you may have installed Josh AI products within a Control4 system. So we're reaching out to you. Snap One has determined that Josh AI is in violation of Snap One's intellectual property. Regrettably, despite Snap One's attempt to work in good faith to resolve these matters, a substantial business conflict persists as Josh AI has brought to market a private labeled Ava remote that infringes upon our IP called the Josh remote. As a result, Snap One filed a lawsuit today in federal court against both Josh AI and Ava. So it goes on to say, rest assured that they're dedicated to making sure that that they have good relationships with their dealers and that they're hoping that all this could be worked out, I guess. I don't know. But there is a big, long lawsuit that has been filed in the District Court of Utah on August 14th. It lists both Ava and Josh AI as the defendants, and Snap One, of course, is the litigant here in this case. Lots and lots. I mean, there's hundreds of pages to this thing. There's so much stuff in here. But I guess kind of to me, I read over most of it. I'm not a lawyer, but I really don't quite understand why it's not two lawsuits. Like, you have the Ava thing that I think we talked about and we've kind of like guessed about over the past, few year or so, that like Control4 had kind of like disallowed their app from running on the Ava remote because the founder of Ava remote is Raphael Obenheiser. I can't.
Raphael for sure. I don't know his last name. Sorry. Terrible with names.
Yeah, he started Neo. Neo sold to Control4 for evidently $10 million. And then, Snap One bought Control4 and I don't know, like they were working on Control4's own internal Neo remote for a while. After that was released, I think Raphael basically left Control4, or they kind of just like amicably. It sounded like it was an amicable parting of ways from this lawsuit, at least, and that there was a couple of restrictions on like basically after he left Control4, basically that he can't use intellectual property from Control4. Okay, that makes sense. That's usually a smart thing that businesses do and say. And then there was another like a consultation agreement that existed up until like March 31st, 2021. And then when that ended and expired, I guess later that year, Ava launched their remote. So Snap One is contending here in this case that, he should not have been using this intellectual property and his knowledge. And during this period of time that he was under contract, or this consultation, I guess is what they call it, contract with Snap One, he should not have been doing that, and he was in violation of that. So that's like one side of this, right? That's the messy Ava remote side that we've talked about. The other side is like the Josh AI side, and just because Josh I guess, partnered with Ava to pre-install an app on their remote, it seems like they got wrapped up in all this mess. To me, I don't really know. But there's also, with Control4, I guess, some agreements. Josh AI, we talked about this in the past, where Josh AI products were being distributed or shipped and sold through the Snap AV or Snap One website, right? And I guess there's a distribution agreement in place there. And this lawsuit alleges that Josh AI was in constant violation of that. And I guess it sounds like from the filing that they said that they had repeatedly tried to resolve that issue with them, and they never could get them to resolve it. And that Josh AI would basically move dealers over to selling direct or sell products at a lower price than what they were buying it on the Snap One website. Which, as a distributor that I work for myself, I can totally understand how Snap One could be upset about something like that, especially if it's an agreement. So that will be interesting to see how that plays out. There's all sorts of like patents in there as well. I mean, Control4, geez, it looks like they have racked up over the years a number of patents, and they claimed, that the Ava remote and by extension the Josh AI product and the Josh Core product are all in violation of a couple of patents that are throughout here. So this has all got to be negotiated. I'm not even going to say litigated. It's going to have to be negotiated out, and we'll probably go to settlement before it hits a jury trial. But Control4 has filed this in federal court in Utah here in August, right before CEDIA. It's kind of turn some heads, and I see reactions all over the place online between dealers saying, Snap One is in the wrong, and then you turn around and say Snap One's in the right. Like it's all over the place as far as reaction from dealers. So I guess we'll start with the dealer here, TJ. What do you think about this? What do you think about the obvious lawsuit that was coming? But like what do you also think about Josh AI getting wrapped up in this?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of saw something happening because we had, just like you said, we originally had the Control4 not working on the Ava remote, and everybody was like, well, that's kind of weird and probably done for a specific reason. And then I would say almost as soon as Josh came out with the Ava remote, or the Josh remote as they call it, I think, Snap AV instantly dropped them, it seems like. I don't know how long the actual delay was on that, but it was very noticeable. I went on the website and it's like, nope, we don't sell this anymore. And so you knew something was happening, but you didn't know what it was exactly. And so I'm not surprised. At the same time, we'll see how this actually ends. I think it'll just end with a settlement of some sort. Some money will exchange hands, everybody will walk away, and nobody's going to say anything else about it. It is awkward that it's like right before CEDIA, though.
Yeah, I think it's all anybody's going to be talking about, at least up through CEDIA, like especially if you're in one of those two booths, or if you walk by the Josh AI booth and see it there. I don't know about Ava if they're going to be at CEDIA. It'd be interesting to know and find out.
Already looked it up. The Josh AI and the Ava booths are like 2 booths away from each other, and the Snap One booth is all the way down at the bottom towards the back. So it's far away. So they won't be able to hear each other talking about each other. But I mean, we could start up some drama there while we can.
Mm-hmm. Wear some t-shirts.
Yeah.
I'll have to bring my Ava remote to the show and see if I can get it autographed.
I have to bring my Neo remote and get it autographed too.
I'll bring my Harmony remote and
don't do that. I think Richard will probably steal it from you.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, so Gavin, you've kind of seen these two companies from the outside, kind of going and passing. What do you think about this?
I just thought the remotes looked very similar, right? Like, when I saw one company's remote and I saw the other, I was like, it's the same remote. Like, you instantly thought it was like the same people. And, it was just a matter of time to me, and I think they just probably waited till like the point where it was starting to make a bigger financial, impact. And then they were like, okay, let's start up this lawsuit, but it was obviously coming.
Yeah. Now that you say that, because I couldn't figure out why they hadn't done the lawsuit before. I mean, I guess they have a period of time where they could file and make those claims, because there's definitely enough wrapped up in this particular lawsuit about Ava and the trade secrets that they claim they claim to have been stealing or stolen. I mean, they kind of go over in pretty fine detail about all the things that they think that have been utilized that are Control4 intellectual property. But what you talked about, the trade dress, which is basically, hey, this thing is designed this way for a reason. It's a striking remote. It looks this way for a reason. We paid $10 million from your old company guy, and all of a sudden you made a remote that looks exactly the same and fools most people thinking it's the same company. That's not cool. So I'm kind of now until you said that, I was kind of surprised that this isn't two remotes. But here may be the reason. Maybe they just thought Ava was just going to kind of like sink and go away. And then now that it's got some legs and some money behind it from the Josh AI company, investing, maybe investing, but like grabbing, being able to sell a number of these remotes. Maybe they're like, oh no, this is a bridge too far. It could have been this little remote kind of off to the side we're not going to worry about. But now that it's basically targeting a company that clearly they already were having problems with anyway, like on a business side where they have been trying to figure out how to work together as distributor partners, maybe that was the case, and they are going after basically who has the money. Ava being a startup that probably doesn't have money, and Josh AI being a fairly well-established startup at this point that does have money. So maybe it just comes down to that, and that's why the two defendants are listed together in this case.
Yeah, that was my thought, because lawsuits are expensive, right? Lawyers are expensive. It's got to be worth it to sue somebody. It's got to be hitting you financially. And it's probably starting, I have a feeling they probably tried to settle it first, organize it ahead of time, but it didn't work out, and now financially it makes sense just to open up the lawsuit.
It didn't seem that way from the Ava side. They just basically like, here's how we're going to settle this. You're just not going to install the Control4 app on your remote, and it's just not going to be a feature of this remote. And then since Control4 is, in at least the professional space that they're marketing to, the largest player in the game right now, in the pro space, it kind of starves the Ava remote out of actually being a viable product for a lot of dealers out there. So that's why I haven't seen it take off. And maybe they were just hoping that it would just kind of like fizzle and go away as a competitor. Because we're all kind of seeing that happen anyway with remotes in general. A lot of the comments I was reading was like, what's a remote control? Or who uses remote controls anyway?
I use my Apple TV remote.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too that Josh has always been kind of a voice platform that has latched on to other products, and not in a bad way or anything like that. They've just been voice first, but now they're like aiming themselves as like an actual automation platform. And I think Snap AV is noticing that, and they're just trying to get ahead of it now. Because, if Josh pushes more people to use them as a home automation platform, then that takes away customers from Snap AV.
It makes sense, but I've got to push back on that a little bit. If you go back and listen to any interview from Alex from like back in the day, he basically says, we hope to be competing with Control4 and Crestron, by X amount of years. And I think that day has come and gone. Their business strategy may have changed, but it's always been a goal of that company to become a home automation platform that you could run by, independently of everything else. And I still see in it, what did you just say? Latching on to other companies or integrating with other companies. They're still doing that in this case here, even with the Ava remote, right? They're using another company's remote basically to load their interface or their Josh AI app on it, so they can use the built-in microphone that we use for our podcast on the as an input into the Josh system. So it makes sense if you look at this from a Josh AI perspective, like how they have run their business. And I can look at it simply and say, well, they probably just looked at it and said, here's a remote that we can install an app on that has a microphone. Like, it's just another interface into our system. And then like, oh, there's some dirty laundry here with the Snap One guys. They probably would have had to, I'm sure they knew about it. I don't think anybody was blind to what was going on there, but I don't know that I would have guessed that this lawsuit would have been filed with both Josh AI and Ava named as defendants. I didn't see that coming, even when they did announce the remote during their summer. Josh AI announced their remotes and ambitions during the summer announcement. Somebody else was saying that there was a Josh AI touchscreen or something that they saw an announcement, and it kind of like came and went as well. Ooh. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, but there could be a touchscreen.
It's just a wall-mounted Ava.
That's right. It's just sideways. Oh man. Well, that's the drama that's happening in the custom install industry right now. There's
Which doesn't really happen very often. There's not really drama that goes on. So
been a while. It used to be Lutron was suing everybody. Like they sued Control 4 for like Control 4 used to have some really inexpensive Zigbee dimmers, like normal what we would consider normal priced, and then they all went up $30 a couple of years later, and Lutron said, oh yeah, we settled that lawsuit with Control 4, congratulations, everything's more expensive for you now. And that could be what happens here. Give it 3 or 4 years, the lawyers will go back and forth and talk, but I doubt this is going to get too, it would be very messy, I think, for everybody involved for this to go to trial, for emails and communications to get released and that kind of thing. Nobody wants to see any of that.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I think it'll quickly get settled. Maybe even by the end of the year.
No, I don't think it's an end of the year thing. I mean, it would be great if it did. I know there was a guys posting on Facebook. They were like, I have 2 $10 million houses that are trimming, and this is not the news I want to hear. So, and Josh AI is top end of the market. They're not. They were not targeting Gavin's house.
Wait a minute. What are you trying to say here? What are you trying to... Now you got me looking at my house and thinking, like, geez. I thought I was doing all right.
They're not... Their target market is none of our houses.
Yeah. I'm a fan of Josh. I like to see what they're doing, even though I'm not their market. I like to see what they're doing because it gives me ideas too, to put in my house. But I just hope this doesn't slow them down.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody's thinking because they have been one of the more innovative companies over the last couple of years where everyone else was like, yeah, we're working on this, and this. They're pushing the boundaries on what you could do with voice, which was kind of like outside the reach of, I would say, literally everyone. Like there's not a pro install. I mean, heck, there's Home Assistant's barely getting started with it. So they were very ahead of the curve in making this possible. I think there was one other assistant out there. It was a Kickstarter for a while. And I think I remember they went bankrupt the other day. Something went wrong and they went bankrupt. So they've definitely have been the most lasting and innovative voice control product on the market. So I like you said, I hope it doesn't slow them down in making advances because they activated the Josh GPT language model thing. I mean, I looked at that the other day. It's like to enable it on an install, you just go in and click off a button. It says, check, enable this. And you say, okay. And now you have access to all those crazy, you can ask it anything. Ask me to ask it for recipes, that have chicken and pasta or something, and it'll tell you, which is really cool. But this kind of lawsuit could slow them down, or at least move their resources off of product development and that kind of thing over towards the lawyers, which everybody loves. So
it's probably not going to slow them down as much as the CEDIA website. Whoever's working on this website, it's making my computer go to a crawl. I'm just trying to look up an exhibitor. It's 2023. Okay, that's the end of my rant.
Infocom did a better job with their floor map because you could click on it anywhere and move it. And then the CEDIA one, if you don't click in the aisle to move the map, it brings you to whatever booth you just clicked on. It's like, oh man.
Oh, I realized when you zoom in on the map, it's wherever your mouse is pointed. It'll start to zoom to that point. It took me a while to figure that out because it was so slow to load. This is bad.
It's awful. Yeah.
I should probably register for CEDIA. I don't even think I've registered yet.
Oh, I gave you guys
Seth
a link.
Told me.
Give me a pass, Seth.
Yeah, Seth told me.
I gave you guys a pass. It's in the hub or something. I'll post the link back in there.
Okay. Dig it up.
I just booked, so you better give me that pass.
Yeah, Gavin is for sure going. We got confirmation over the week. He's going. So
you guys were doubting it for a while, weren't you?
Yeah, I was kind of nervous there. I didn't know what was going to happen.
You're just lucky I had enough points on my Visa card.
I was booking everything months ago, and you two are like, nah, we'll wait till the day of.
I did book my flight at least, so.
Which is usually the opposite. Usually I wait till the last second, but this one I was like, if everything's going to be booked up if I don't do it now, so.
You're the responsible one, TJ. That's what I've learned.
So proud of you.
Yeah, this time.
All right, let's move on from this and move on to more happier topics and talk about some home technology stuff.
Lawsuits are happy.
Yeah, lawsuits. Anyway, I think we talked about this probably a year or two ago, right? The Masonite Empower Smart Door is now available at Home Depot for tech enthusiasts who are ready to invest in their front door. has a starting price of $4,000. This smart door integrates with the Yale lock, the Ring video doorbell, and it's all powered by home electronics, and it doesn't have like battery. I think it has a battery backup on it and everything. We talked about this years ago, and we were like, this is never coming to market. And then, I don't know, here it is. $4,000 later, you can have one. It has been used in new construction homes since 2022, I guess, and is UL certified now. So now it's available off the shelf. You can go to Home Depot, buy an Empower Masonite Smart Door. TJ, you got the new house. You want one of these?
No. And I was wondering how they were getting power there. It looks like they are using one of those. It looks like a commercial. This one's not a power transfer hinge, but something else. So you definitely have a power supply somewhere in the house. So it's a matter of getting power to that door, which if you have an unfinished basement, probably isn't that hard. If you have a finished basement, you're probably going to have difficulty installing this door.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine this is only for new construction, but everything on the door looks like it's just off the shelf, which is kind of confusing. So I guess it makes it nice because if you need to replace anything, then you should be able to. But it's just weird to see like a regular Yale lock and a Ring doorbell installed on this door.
Yeah, and it's not in the trim. It is on the door. The Ring doorbell is on the door.
And it's like this weird plate and everything, I guess. But I don't know. It's just weird.
It just looks so normal. Something that you could have done yourself, right? And just thrown up there. Like, I don't see much special about it. And I also feel it needs like one more device to justify that price tag. You know, you're like, oh, you got a lock, you got the doorbell, that's it.
No,
like,
it's got some lights. There's lights.
Yeah, that's why they throw the lights in there, and that light on the top of the door frame where it looks like they just added that like after the fact.
It probably needs a smart blind in there. Let's get everything in this one door. Like you have a little window and it has a tilting smart blind in there. That would have been cool.
Smart tint instead of a blind.
Or even better, there you go. You see, there's so much more they could have done to justify the $4,000. And when I convert that to Canadian, that's probably like $6,000. No way. Like,
yeah, so you're not even at installation for this. So you're probably at like $6,000 for installation and everything.
I hate to break it to you guys, but $4,000 is the base price. It goes north of $7,000 if you get all the options.
Oh my gosh, stop.
What are all the options?
What do you get for $7,000?
No, we got to go bigger, you know.
I don't know. Go to Home Depot and let's price one out.
All right, let's see.
All right. Oh.
Now we're all going to do this live.
I know, right? So we're just going to stop the show. Oh, I guess you can get the side lights on each side. So that's one thing. The size of the door might matter. The color, the finish.
Oh, you can do it with windows or without windows. All right.
There's a lot of options here, I think that you can get.
Man, there's a lot of colors too.
Maybe if I went to HomeDepot.com, it would give me the right one.
Yeah, you don't get it in Canada.
Mine's still at $4,000, so I really don't know how they're getting. Oh, I see. So if you do it with the two side lights, you can get to $7,000.
Oh my God, side lights are that much these days?
Yep, looks like it.
How do you get? I can't even see side lights on here.
It's the little side windows on the side.
Oh, that's how.
And it's painted to match the door. So
that makes sense then. Those are always more expensive. So it's the same hardware and everything though. I'm kind of glad they didn't make it like a proprietary hardware so that hopefully in like 4 years when your doorbell stops working, you don't have to like replace your door.
Well, and that's what they say that, you know, it's kind of like not like future proofed, but at least that the products and everything in here,
it won't be junk.
Yeah, they can be swapped out later on. Like you're not stuck into.
They'll definitely make a blank plate for this Ring doorbell at some point, though. The door lock you shouldn't have any problems with. The doorbell at some point, though, you're going to have problems with, like replacing it with a new one.
Yeah. There may be like a cover kit or something like that. So
it's neat. Maybe they'll be at CEDIA so I can see how it feels. I gotta test drive it before I spend $4,000 on a door.
They need like a smart doggy door on this too, you know? Like give us like something like that.
Gavin, why are you trying to make this door more expensive?
I know, right?
I'm at the $7,000 price range now, and I don't see what the $7,000. It looks like a normal door with some lights.
Yeah, you get two windows on the side. That's what you get for $7,000.
Yeah, those are some like they're not even smart windows.
One step at a time, Gavin.
Is it Matter compatible?
It is not,
because it's Ring.
Well, if anybody out there does have one of these smart doors and likes it, let us know. I'm kind of curious. I'm not going to get one of these things. Although, we've been talking about replacing our front door for a while, and I have a wire there already.
Oh,
I mean, you if you replaced your entire front door, right, you could actually retrofit this in. Like getting a wire there at that point is not a big deal. And I have a wire there for a security contact.
Get your own hinge. You could buy the hinge yourself, right? And put that on and run the power through that and through the door and power whatever you want off of that, right?
I forget what this specific one is called, but you're basically looking for a power transfer hinge.
Yeah.
Which has the wiring built into it so it doesn't rub away and stuff.
Well, where there's a will, there's a way. So
where there's a will, there's a Masonite M Power Smart Door.
For $7,000.
Only $4,000.
If you want the basic door. I don't want the basic door. I want the fancy door.
And it comes in a wide array of colors, guys. I mean, I think we're glossing over this. I mean, you can get it in humorous green or Jamaica Bay. Maybe, I don't know what that one is, or tricorn black.
I feel like I need perspective on this too, because I also don't know how much. I mean, I'm assuming that a new front door for my house would only be a few $100s. I've never actually bought a new front door for my house.
So I started looking at them because our doors in our house are really awful. And if you're close to them, you can feel the heat coming in through them.
Oh, yeah.
And so I've been pricing out doors, and a good front door, and I'm not bougie. So if you're listening to this and you're like, that's way more than that. It's not. You can buy a decent front door, like insulated and all that good stuff with windows or blinds or whatever for $500 to $1,000. And then depending on who you talk to, it's like $500 to $1,000 to install it.
Okay.
So for this one door, I could replace all three of my exterior doors and my interior doors with non-smart versions, obviously,
and get a dog door.
Yeah, and I could get a dog door at the same time.
There you go.
Thanks, Menards.
Let's just add that to our list of things that you are going to have to buy that you paid for on the show, I guess. And yeah, I think you're going to have to get that one door though. Like it just makes sense now.
Well, I mean, you could just read the reviews. Actually, they've already got 8 reviews, and they're all 5 stars. So either it's a really good door or it's fake.
All right, let's move on here. We've got an interesting new product here that, I don't know, you guys remember that old Chromecast audio device? Little audio product you could just shoot music to and it would just start playing? Well, there's a new
one of the good products that they killed for some reason.
Well, that's just literally like Google Domains is gone now. Like, it makes no sense. This is called a WiiM Pro or WiiM Pro. I'm not even sure how to pronounce this, but it's a new product that has a bunch of the same features that the Chromecast Audio had, but also has a couple of new things. It's $150 price tag. It's a little bit steeper than the Chromecast, but it may be worth it with the added capabilities. So it's got better DAC. It's got a analog input and an operational amp inside of it. It supports AirPlay 2, Alexa casting, Spotify Connect, and a couple more things. I don't know. It seems like an interesting little product that people are saying, oh, it's going to compete with Sonos or whatever. But I know Sonos has an entire ecosystem with soundbars and stuff too. So I don't really see this like going head to head with Sonos, but I don't know, for the right person, $150 little streamy box, it could be a good option for you.
Yeah, I've been seeing people mention this as an alternative. It seems like a really good streaming device itself, but yeah, the taking on the Sonos thing isn't going to happen unless they release a bunch of speakers. The reason people use Sonos is because you can buy a Sonos port or a Sonos amp or a Sonos soundbar or a wireless speaker or whatever it is. And these little devices are super handy, especially this one because it's got AirPlay and Chromecast and everything else built into it. So if you are looking just for like a one-off solution, or you want to add AirPlay to something or Chromecast audio, this is a good idea. But if you want whole house audio and where maybe this isn't going to fit in, then you probably are best to stick with Sonos.
Yeah, I mean, I think they mentioned it because it's like half the price, and it's got a bunch of extra features that the Sonos port doesn't have. Is that right?
Yeah, well, Chromecast audio for one.
And this outputs to another device, right? Like, is that how it works? Yeah.
Yeah, so you connect it to like an amp or whatever.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I went with Sonos for my setup was, especially with AirPlay 2, when I had those little boxes set up on speakers, but the problem is you always had to leave the speakers on and the amp turned up and stuff like that when you just want to AirPlay to a random room around the house, right? With Sonos, the speakers, I wouldn't say they're on, but they turn on by themselves and their volumes are set to whatever you set it as soon as you start to AirPlay. And I like that. I don't have to worry about turning them off or anything. I just stop AirPlaying. And this little box will just add that, again, you have to plug it in, have an external source, and you have to have the volume turned up or you turn it on whenever you want to AirPlay. I don't have to worry about that. So that's kind of why I stick with Sonos in a way.
Yeah, they make it easy. I mean, they just make it easy, and it's like I said, it's included within the ecosystem. I guess the WiiM Pro is actually $219. There is a WiiM standard box, I guess.
No, I think it's just comparing. It's $140 more than the Chromecast.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's $219, not $149.
When Google killed the Chromecast audio, I was so confused because they still sell the regular Chromecast. So, I mean, I don't know how many they actually sold, but I remember whenever they stopped selling it, there were so many people upset and they were buying them all off eBay and everything else because it was, $35 and you just plugged it into the power, plugged it into your audio port, and you were good to go.
Yeah. It seems like there's definitely a market for that kind of thing out there, especially at that price point. Like, it makes a lot of sense. At $219, though, I can see them having, they're competing with people that were used to paying that $39, $40, $50 for a streaming device. I don't know that they're going to, get many of those customers to move over to paying $150. Like, at $30, $40, $50, it's kind of a no-brainer thing because you could outfit a bunch of them, right? Like, you could grab like 3 or 4 of them, put them throughout the house with little amplifiers on them, and you have music in those rooms. Now you're paying $150 per zone. I don't know. That's a big ask for some people. Yeah,
and that's what people were doing. They were buying, for example, on the like Home Assistant and the smart home subreddits and stuff like that. People would, suggest you buy the Monoprice, 6-channel amplifier, I think, for like $300 or $400. It was dirt cheap for what it was. Mm-hmm. And then you basically just get 6 of these Chromecast audios and you have separate zones for under $1,000.
The little Sonos system setup. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So it makes sense for that. But like I said, if you need a sound bar or anything else, it makes sense just to stick with Sonos. They are the best at whole house audio, unfortunately.
You're going to be paying $1,300 for 6 of these. It's
it's gonna be more than that. They're like, I think the Sonos ports are $449 now, so if you need 6 of them, then you're paying $2,500.
I mean for these little guys, the WiiM things, WiiM things, yeah,
$1,200, $1,300.
Yeah, it's a bigger ask than a $50 device or $30 device. So, all right, well, that's an interesting product to hit the market. It does sound like it has a bunch more features and a better DAC built in, a digital audio converter. It also has, it looks like this has digital optical and digital coax as well, and Ethernet. So it's got the ports that I like to see on devices. And if I was in the market for a streamer, this might be a pretty good, if I didn't already have Sonos, this might be a pretty good place to start and pick one up. Let's move on here and take a look at who's mattering this week. And I guess SwitchBot, we're going to give it to you because they have been upgrading a couple things. You can get a couple more, like 6 more devices now integrated with Matter in the new upgraded Hub 2, thanks to SwitchBot. I think we talked about this a couple weeks back, but people are getting really excited about it because they keep adding on device support for it, which is what they should do. Get the Hub 2 support, do your Matter upgrade thing, and then now you can get all sorts of fun stuff installed. We'll put a link to the show notes into this story here about it. But congratulations, SwitchBot. We're giving it to you again. We may have given you 2 for the same thing before, but Matter news gets slow this week. Now that the Internet of Things podcast is basically thrown in the towel because of Matter, I think you killed them, Matter. Thanks, guys. We're gonna have we struggle some weeks to find Matter news now, and we got all these awards to hand out every week.
Matter is supposed to be bringing people together, and it's over here tearing people apart.
I know. I really like the IoT podcast too. Like I really liked the interaction between Stacy and Kevin. Kevin was just Kevin's like a programmer like a newer programmer. Like he's moved from being like a consultant into like the programming role. And so like enjoyed that journey of listening to him kind of like learn and go to school and all that stuff. And then Stacy goes out and tortures her family with all these IoT devices. I totally enjoy hearing those stories. So I'm going to really miss the interactions those two came up with every week. That was always my favorite part of their show, was hearing how badly she would torture, like, especially Stacey. Like, she would definitely get in devices that I would not touch with a 10-foot pole and force them on her family for a bit. And then, get mad at them because they didn't work the way they were supposed to. But I don't know, like some of the stuff that they got involved with, I would definitely not have touched.
I listen to it every week. I'm a fan of that podcast, and yeah, it was sad to hear they're leaving. I always liked how they took a viewer question every week, and they would give you like 4 options as to what you could do. And I almost feel like sometimes a viewer had too many options after that, or listener had too many options after that. They were still in the same position, But it was great that they were helping, and it just kind of showed the way the IoT space is there's 10 different ways to solve your problem, and none of them are right, and it's just what works for you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We should pick up the mantle there and say. And what we can do is like we'll give 2 ways. Like we'll have 3 ways. We'll give the Gavin way, which probably will be Home Assistant. We'll give TJ's way, which could be a mix of Home Assistant or some Pro way. And then we'll do my way, which I will just go over the top pricing. Like I'll just do the most expensive way every time. We should do that. So if you've got a question about how you can do something and you have like a setup, we'll replace that segment. We'll do that. For our listeners out there. And if you're coming from the IoT podcast and you wanted to figure out, you had a question to ask, just email us, feedback@HomeTech.fm. Yeah, email us and we'll answer that question 3 ways and you'll have your choice.
I'm so relieved. I thought you were going to suggest, when you said take over for them, I thought you were going to suggest that we were going to start a podcast, and I don't think I want to start a podcast with you guys.
Yeah,
it's be rough.
I totally agree.
It's too much pressure.
Exactly. All
right. Well, we'll just move on from that. No more podcast.
Well, we did know that once Kevin went to Home Assistant, it was over for them.
That's true. What else do you have to search for at that point?
I know. He found what he was looking for, and he didn't want to talk about anything after that.
Yeah. Well, the problem is he's going to spend all his time messing around and updating his Home Assistant and changing dashboards. He won't have any more time to do a podcast.
Exactly.
We'll get to it in projects when I talk about what I did this last week, which I thought was absolutely absurd, and I did it. But yeah, we'll get to it in projects. So anyway, let's move on here. Congratulations, SwitchBot. You matter. You broke the Internet of Things podcast. Thanks a lot. And let's move on. All the links and topics we discussed tonight can be found on our show notes at HomeTech.fm/448. We do have something in the mailbox this week. We got a little bit of feedback from a friend of the show, Greg R. in the hub. He said, I think you missed a use case. This is a couple weeks back. I think you missed a use case on the Wyze battery camera. Power outages. I didn't even think about that. And he said, that's why I would get it. Yeah, if you have these little powered Wyze cameras plugged in around your house and the power goes out, they take time to reboot. They like shut down and then they take time to reboot and something happens, you miss it. So that's a great use case. I like it.
But if your power is out for more than a day, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I was gonna say, unless you have
no, that had like 6 months.
No, if you're 24/7 though.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're 24/7, it's only 24 hours. That's it for the battery. But if you could recharge it with a battery backup, or you can have multiple batteries, there's ways around it.
Right. What if you plugged it into a UPS? You had the battery backup plus the UPS, and I mean, how many months could you get out after that? Like that'd be a long time.
This is like a PoE camera system with more work.
Essentially, yeah. But that's a great use case. I didn't think about it at all, but it makes a lot of sense. Like so the device doesn't have to like power down, boot back up, and you miss like whatever 30, 45 seconds a minute. Like I don't know how long they take, but you miss that amount of time of what may have happened. And yeah, power outage. Good idea. I totally missed on that. So. We do have a pick of the week this week, and this was published in the hub as well. This is On Point Cable Management, and it's got a lady sitting at her desk, and the caption above it says, "When your cable management is perfect." And man, the cable management here is absolutely perfect. There is not a cable to be seen in this picture. It's great.
Not even a mouse or a keyboard.
No. There's
perfect. It looks like she's using it though.
The lamp isn't even plugged in.
So the lamp, it is basically a desk with a computer. An open desk, like a corner desk, but they don't have it in the corner. They have it stick out in the room. And then there's a computer, a monitor. She's clearly sitting at it, looking at the computer, like the computer screen, using it, working. And the desk is all clean and there's no wires to be seen at all. Like it's just no wires at all. So every cable that they could remove.
Nothing connected to the monitor.
Yeah. Every cable that they could remove, they removed. And except the lamp cable. We figured that one, they I was like, oh, there's a lamp there. I wonder how they plug that in. Nope, they didn't even bother. They just wrapped up the cable, set it on the desk, and said, here you go. So I love these stock images or these marketing images where it's like, we're selling this desk clearly, but this is not how people use desks.
To be fair, she kind of has this, why is this not working look on her face.
Better call tech support.
I think I know why. Yeah,
that IT guy said he connected it all. What the heck?
Oh, man.
I think one of my other favorite parts about this is the little wheel mechanism thing for the computer, just in case you want to take it on a drive, You can
just roll it around. Like it probably has a little string attached to it, so your 5-year-old can drag it around the house.
I mean, that's what I normally do. I move my computer all around and stuff.
It's untethered.
Oh man! Well, we'll put this in the show notes. Check it out. It's quite funny. So it's all the marketing images gone completely wrong. So, all right. Well, if you have any feedback, questions, comments, picks of the week, or great ideas for a show, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. All right. Well, we've got a couple of project updates. TJ, why don't you go first? Because I can kind of tag along with this.
All right. So this week, I had a couple problems that I wanted to solve. And one of them is kind of interesting. It's a little life hack for you guys that maybe install a lot of things. Maybe you just have silicone laying around, whatever. But those little toothpaste squeezers that you can buy off like Amazon or Walmart or pretty much any store, I'm assuming, you basically put the toothpaste into this little roller and then you twist it and it, squeezes all the toothpaste out. So that way there's nothing left behind and it leaves the toothpaste roll super flat. I bought some of those when we bought our new house because I was tired of, constantly squeezing the toothpaste so hard. I mean, you're trying to get all those little pieces out of there and everything, all that toothpaste. It's just difficult. And so I bought some for the house and I started using it and I was like, this is great. Why did I not buy one of these before? And then one night I'm brushing my teeth and I looked at that thing and I was like, why am I not using this for my silicone? And so I ordered like 4 of them and I put them on all my silicone. And I have one on, I have like probably 12 different silicones open at any specific time. So I put it on the end of it and I started using it and I was like, this is genius. So we'll have a picture of that in the show notes because if you use a lot of silicone, I think this is a good idea for you to invest in. And it was like $13 for 2 of them.
You know what else is $13?
What else is $13, Seth?
The domain tjscaulksqueezer.com.
I say you go for it. And that way, in a year or two, when you forget about it, you're like, why do I have this domain?
Oh, I know why I have the domain. Oh, man. It's a good idea. I never even thought about using those two things together, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Usually I end up using the tube thing and then forgetting about it. And then it's a problem because usually I forget about it and then it dries out and I don't get to use the rest of the tube.
That's my problem too. So this I think this is helping me a little bit because it makes it a little heavier and bulkier. And so I notice it. I'm like, oh, well, and my problem is when I buy stuff like this, I buy it in bulk. So I buy 6 or 12 at a time. And so that way I don't have to worry about it for a while. But I never know which one is actually open. And so what I do is I'm usually in a rush and I go out to my van, and I open my drawer that has all my stuff in it, and then I just grab a random one, and then I open another one. But this one, it's like, oh, well, it's the silver thing's on there, so that's the one I should probably use. Which is not a good excuse for laziness, but it's my excuse, and I'm fully owning it live on the air.
I'm glad you used the I grabbed a random noun, like the noun that you picked was one and not Caulk, because I mean this is just the show title is going to write itself this week, I think. So.
Well, you're welcome. Well, the next thing I want to talk about is that I am finally ditching Windows.
What?
So all my life, I have used Windows computers. I've never looked at Macs. I've randomly had Macs, but I've just got, I don't know, I want something different. And Windows 11 just sucked enough for me that I was like, I'm going to look at something else. And so I got a MacBook Air. I got the 15-inch one, and I really like it. I use it pretty much every day to do all my work, but I need a desktop computer, but I don't want to use my giant gaming computer that I built during COVID or right before COVID, and I've upgraded over the years. And I don't need it anymore. I'm not playing computer games anymore. And so having this giant thing sitting underneath my desk, taking up all my power, is not something I care for anymore. And so I'm selling the gaming computer this week.
Wow.
Buying a Mac Mini.
I do like the Mac Mini. You should wait, though, because there's a Mac Mini 3 or whatever, the M3 may be coming out.
Yeah, the M3 is supposedly going to come out, which I'm fine with waiting. I think it'll come out in or at least it'll be announced in mid-September, I think. And I'm not going to buy it till after I get back from CEDIA anyway, and I don't get back from CEDIA until the 10th.
Yeah.
So I have plenty of time. I'm waiting on some gift cards to come in from rewards exchange for credit cards. So I think I'll pay $200 out of pocket for even a high-end Mac Mini.
Wow.
And I don't need the Mac Studio. I mean, I'm not going to spend $3,000 on a desktop, but
no. I think there's special use cases for that. And the M1, M2, and probably the M3 Mac Minis are. I mean, I have I think this is the M1 Max laptop. I don't touch the Max part of this. It's so fast. I barely use it. If I was compiling stuff for making Mac apps and stuff like that every day, then yes, but this thing just doesn't even blink at whatever I throw it at. It's ridiculous. I did turn my my Mac Pro back on the other day, or before I left. And it fired up, and for an Intel computer, I'm like, man, this thing runs really fast. I really like this. But it's just as fast as it was a $10,000, $6,000, $6,000 to $10,000 computer, depending on whatever options you get.
Should be fast though.
It should be fast. Yeah. This computer was not that. And yeah. So
yeah, and originally I was I bought a couple different docks. So the MacBook Air is software limited to only use one external display.
Mm-hmm.
If you buy a DisplayLink certified dock and you install some random company's software, you can use multiple displays with the dock. But by the time you buy a $200 dock and then you buy all the cables for it and everything like that, you're $300 already just to connect two monitors. And so that was my thing is I'm going to spend $300 just to bring my laptop in to connect to my computer, and I can buy a $500 Mac Mini.
Yeah.
So I'd probably just do that instead. Now I'm not going to buy the base Mac Mini because I need something a little more. But that's the price difference between by the time you add multiple monitors to this computer and everything.
It's interesting. I see people go both ways on that. I have been forcing myself to live what do they call it? The laptop desktop life for
dock life.
Yeah, I guess it's a dock life. It's not as fun. I can tell you that.
It's just more hassle. I don't want to have to worry about getting my laptop for my van or whatever. I just want to sit down and use my computer.
Right. And they have a sync thing that you can turn on. I haven't used Macs. I have some external software I use for sync for years. And it works really well for syncing all the files I need it to sync between all my computers at the same time. So yeah, I use that, and I've been able to go from my laptop to as long as I'm online when I turn it off, and I usually am, I can go from my laptop to my desktop computer and have the same file. So it syncs it almost immediately. And I think Mac has something similar for now between their desktops and everything. So
yeah. And the last thing I want to talk about this week is I did a terrible thing, guys. I bought Ring products to install in my house. I bought 4 Ring solar lights, the little wall-mounted lights. I think they're $59.99 each. You have to have their little hub for $20 or $30 or whatever it is. I mainly got them because our backyard is very dark. We have a backyard light. It's literally on the house, and it works, but it doesn't light up the backyard, the fence line, and stuff like that. And when we first moved in, I noticed that some animals were running across there, mainly a skunk. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to run across a skunk in the middle of the night. And so I was thinking about ways I could add lights without tearing up my yard, because next year we're going to do some landscaping projects, but I don't want to invest $1,000 into landscape lights right now. And so I was looking around, and I was like, well, somebody's got to make a good solar light. And I know those little solar lights you buy from Home Depot for 5 shells really aren't good, and they don't last long. And I wanted internet connection stuff, so that way I can turn them on and off whenever I wanted. And so I bought these Ring wall-mounted solar lights, and so far they are great. They have motion detectors built into them, so they can turn on automatically. You can set it up on a light schedule. You can turn them on manually. If you have Ring cameras, you can connect them to those, which I don't have. The most annoying thing to me so far, though, is that you can manually turn the lights on for a preset time. And so it's like 1, 3, 5, 10, and 15 minutes or something like that. But that's it. You can't just like leave them on. However, if you go through and set up a light schedule to turn them on between a certain amount of time, you can leave them on as long as you want to. So like that's kind of annoying to me because I can't just go turn them on like the maximum of 15 minutes. But not the end of the world because I just have them come on every night now and it's not a big deal. I did get them integrated into Home Assistant. Woo! Home Assistant integrating with everything. So I'm using the MyQTT whatever integration with another MyQTT Ring integration. Yeah, whatever it is. And I can turn on all the Ring lights from Home Assistant. I can control the motions and stuff like that. So, if a motion gets triggered by one of the wall lights, I can have it do something else. There is a native Ring integration with Home Assistant that uses the cloud, obviously, but it doesn't expose lights unless they're linked up to a Ring camera. And so if you want this functionality, you have to do the MyQTT integration in order to do that. But so far, so good. I mean, they've been charging up during the day. I don't use that much power. And most of the time, they're set to 50% brightness. That's how bright they are for my backyard. So I've been very happy with them so far.
Yeah, I bought those not too long ago. They have worked well. I will say the ones on the side of my house, which, to be fair, don't get that much sunlight. Although one of them gets a lot of sunlight all day. The other one is kind of under a tree. That I can't control, but it's under a tree. The one that's on the tree is up like on the roof line of the house, I guess, and so it should get sun. But anyway, those run like the battery runs really low on them all the time. I've never seen it charge fully. I've never seen any of them charge fully actually. So I'm like looking at them now. They have like 22% battery, and it's nighttime. So I don't know. But I haven't ever walked outside and had them not turn on, I guess. Except the other day when you told me you did this and I said, oh, that's really cool. Let me try and do it. And I went outside and I pulled it off the fence. I'm like, wait a minute, this stupid thing didn't turn on. And I basically had to, pull the batteries to reset it. So I did get it back on. I did get it integrated like you did. And this is this is all that I did for Home Assistant. And I basically broke all the motion detection things that I had set up. So now I've got to go figure that out through Home Assistant. But I do like the options that you have. You have a little bit more options in Home Assistant, I guess, than you do in the Ring app. And it makes a little more sense to me than the Ring app. Although I don't know, I'm not sure which way I'll go, but I'll agree with you that these products that they made have been actually pretty good products. Like they're not terrible. And the price isn't bad. Like you get these little solar lights, you plug them in, you get the little base station. It's very cheap. Toss them in, they work. So I've been very happy with them as well.
Yeah, I've been thinking about picking up some of the path lights, actually. I think those are like $50 each, but I don't know about that yet.
Yeah, I have two of those by the driveway. I don't know that they're any better. They just look different.
Yeah.
Just a different form factor. I guess while I'm on Home Assistant integrations, while I was doing this, I was like, I don't know, for whatever reason, I was like, I wonder if I can integrate my power company with it. So yeah, I have somebody somehow wrote an integration with no API, of course, to the Florida Power and Light. So I can download my utility bill and put it on my dashboard in Home Assistant.
Ooh.
Why? I have no idea why, but I can. So I did it.
That actually reminds me, Seth, and I apologize for taking more time here, but I actually got my power monitoring installed this past week for Home Assistant as well.
Oh, nice.
So I got the Emporia View 2 installed, and it's probably the most affordable energy monitoring solution for 16 sensors and a little base station thing. It's $180 in US Freedom dollars.
Wow.
And so it's dirt cheap. It uses the cloud. And if you tie it into Home Assistant, I think you only get 1 minute interval updates, which kind of sucks. But it is hackable and you can put ESP Home onto it and then you get real time monitoring with it. And so that's my plan eventually, whenever that happens. But for now, I can see all my energy and water consumption in Home Assistant now. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
I had the electrician install it so that way I don't have to worry about hurting myself. So
If you put ESP Home on it, does that keep the cloud integration or is it now local?
yeah, I think it's local only at that point. It writes over their stuff. So that's my plan if and whenever I have more time to do that.
Awesome. Well, Gavin, what about you? You got a couple of things here. What have you been up to?
Lately I've been playing around with my shutters, trying to automate my shutters and stuff. I mentioned this a few shows ago. But one thing I kept popping up on my feeds because I guess the A lady heard me say shutters and automation. and in the advertisements on my various social media feeds, I saw the Tuya plantation shutters, and I was like, I looked at it and I was like, you know what, let me buy one. Let me just see what this is about, right? So I picked one up. It came from China. It took about 3 weeks to get here. And yeah, I kind of regret getting it. So it works. It's kind of like it runs off RF, but then you have a little adapter that then reads that and translates it and sends a signal and converts it into Zigbee. So, I was able to add it to Home Assistant, et cetera, et cetera. And it kind of sits along the side. It has a little pin sticking out and that goes up and down and it flips the shutters open or close, like it does what it is, but you don't have things like you lose manual control of these shutters. Like you can't open them or close them by hand at that point because it's just stuck in position, right? It's all right. It has solar powered. I mean, for what it is, it opens, it closes, and that's pretty much it. But what I've been doing, still working on my little own personal project with my 3D printer is I've been designing my own version of an adapter for the SwitchBot blinds, to convert it into a shutter controller. And I now have working prototypes. I actually have it in production now on one of my shutters because I only have one. But, the bonuses are, I was able to design it in a way that you still have control over the shutter manually. I can go up to it and open and close it with my hands. I was able to design it in a way that it attaches to both shutters. So on one shutter, I have 2 sets, right? So now you can mount this and it actually will control both sets, right? So I only need one device for one full shutter instead of having to buy 2 devices for one full shutter to control each set. So now that it's working, I'm making tweaks to it, trying to tighten it up, adjusting gear ratios and stuff like that. It starts off as a simple project and then next thing you know, you become a gear expert, so it's been a fun learning project. But I can walk into like my dining room and double click up or down on the light switch and it opens or closes the shutters if I want. Or I could tell the A lady to do it, or I also have it automated. So, certain times of the day it will open or close, or based on light, it will open these shutters on this side of the house and close the ones on the other side of the house. That's my eventual goal because certain times of the day in my backyard, the back side of my house gets a lot warmer. So if I close all the shutters back there, it stays cool. But then, later on in the day, I can open up the back ones and I close the front ones and then that stays cool. That's eventually my goal. But it's going to take me a while to get there, but it's been a fun project and I'm loving the 3D printer and playing around with it and designing it all in Tinkercad.
Yeah, everything is going to be everything from now on is going to be 3D printed. I see that you found a caulk squeezer for the 3D printer caulk squeezer.
Yeah, it's amazing. Everything like that you can find 3D printed. Like you have IKEA shelves. What are they called? The lack tables or whatever they call it like that. You can find little adapters that will strengthen the legs on them. You just 3D print them, you drill them in, it strengthens the leg, and now it becomes a more solid table. Anything you could think of, somebody's 3D printing it. It's amazing.
Yeah, 3D printers are great.
I'm not going there. I'm not getting involved. Nope.
Seth, you should get one.
No, do not
get one, Seth.
Get one. No, I don't need another printer in my life. It's not going to happen. I have 3 at my house.
It became even more fun when I got into the Tinkercad side of things because now I can actually design my own things instead of looking for somebody to do it. If a part breaks, I can actually measure it out. I have the calipers and everything, measure it out.
Yeah.
And I know how to design it in Tinkercad and then print it out. And I have different filaments now. So I have PLA, I have PETG, so I could get hard. It's become a little expensive, but I've used probably 1 roll in just printing, prototypes for my shutters, but once it's done, I'm going to use another roll, probably just printing all the rest of the shutters out. Like, if you have the time, it's been like a little side project for me, so I do it in my spare time. And it's been really, really like entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, well, all of your 3D printing projects have been entertaining to listen to. Like this and the grass, I think you've kind of what you've got to figure out is something that you can 3D print for the moisture monitoring things. I think there's got to be something you can 3D print for those.
You got to print a cap for the light.
Yeah, the grass
yeah, light cap.
yeah. The grass thing has been amazing. It's been really amazing because it saved me so much water, and like I just got a notification that it automatically scheduled for the morning now. Just the one zone, it's detected it's low, and it's so. Just seeing that, how much water I've been saving just by that, it's been amazing this year. And that was worth the investment alone.
Nice. Well, all good stuff tonight. It's, man, you guys are busy. I feel like I've been busy doing things. I did put up a camera too. So I guess I have been a little bit busy. I put a camera up facing the garbage cans so I could check to see if the little trash pandas were out there digging through it at night. I've been having problems with them. So I need to figure out, maybe this is something I should look up. If somebody's made a 3D printed project that will hold the garbage can lids shut for raccoons. Like that's
already searching for you.
Raccoon deterrent.
Gavin's got you. If not, he'll whip something up for you.
I'll get my calipers out and measure my trash can. Anyway, I think that's going to wrap up this week. We do want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about our Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out here on the show, but every single pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, The Hub, where you and other supporters of the show can gather every day and talk about. Actually, there was a really cool conversation that came up after last week's show. He's in our Slack. Morton in our Slack was talking about listening to the podcast, and you're talking about expensive pool equipment. And he got a quote for some pool equipment that he needed. It was $3,000 for a saltwater controller or something like that. And he basically figured out how to do it for not $3,000, but probably like $30 with a Shelly control thing, like a Shelly EM switch. It monitors the power of the pool, and then if it exceeds a certain amount, he can use the relay on the switch that turns the chlorinator on and off. This is probably the most brilliant and cost-saving home hack I've ever heard of. This is great, and Shelly is just losing money if they're not charging $3,000 for this solution. That's it's crazy. But I thought it was a great hack, not even a hack. Like, it's just a great idea, and to save $3,000, so you don't have to buy a $3,000 because the pool controllers, there's nothing special about them. They're just relays. Like, everybody's like, oh, I gotta have this thing. No, you just hook up a bunch of relays. It just connect. It's crazy how dumb those things are. Anyway, go check that out on the Hub. It's a good conversation from last week. If you want to help with the show but can't support the show financially, totally understand. Just appreciate a 5-star review on the iTunes or a positive rating in the podcast app of your choice. That's going to wrap up HomeTech this week. Don't forget to go over to HomeTech.fm/happy hour and RSVP for the HomeTech Happy Hour. Please go do that. We will see you next week.
Till next time.
Take care.